Hi there, beautiful souls. It's Avalon, and I'm here to do another tarot review. So I'm very excited about this one. I'm excited about all of them. Who am I kidding? But I'm particularly excited about this one today because A, I'm working with this deck at this very moment in time. I have been working with this deck for a couple of weeks now and sitting with it and playing with it and getting to know it. And I really like it. And B, because once I get all of my tarot reviews done, I'm then able to buy more. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but I have made a small pact with both myself and my husband to stop my junky ways and to make sure that I give each and every tarot deck and oracle deck the love and attention that they deserve before I go and start buying more. I'm getting itchy just talking about it because I'm a compulsive tarot and oracle buyer, and this is just a way for me to pull up a bit on that and actually use them while I'm purchasing them and really spend some time with them and honor them and giving them the attention that they deserve. So I'm working with this one at this particular point in time, and the way that I came across this deck was actually very it was very quirky. I really enjoyed it. I was down in New South Wales visiting my in-laws on the central coast of New South Wales, and I went into Avalon's by Nature at the entrance, and I did a couple of videos there, and I met Joe and the beautiful Nikki, and I bought a tarot deck. It was the Seventh Tarot, which is a Marseille style deck, Australian artist, and it was the first Marseille style deck that I'd actually added to my collection. And while I was there, Joe actually showed me this deck, and I looked at it and I went, oh yeah, that's great. Looked at it, gave it the attention, and then gave it back to her and went, oh yeah. I was neither here nor there about it. Went away, and this damn deck haunted me. I started to see images of this deck everywhere and me shuffling the cards, and it was all very, very spooky. So I called her up and I said, can you please get me 2 copies? And she moved hell and high water and got me 2 copies before I flew back to Cairns. And thank you again, Joe, for that. That was really great service. And the deck that I'm speaking about now is the Bonefire Tarot. Crazy, crazy, awesome, awesome. Now, the Bonefire Tarot is created by Gabby Angus West, and she is an Australian artist and tarot reader. So she both reads, and therefore she has a really great insight. She had a really great insight that she brought into the creation of this deck, and you can really feel that. There's a confident presence about this deck, which I really like, and it is a 78 card deck. The suits, I should say, are coins, cups, swords, and wands. However, wands are actually depicted as flaming pine cones, which is very Australiana and quirky initially, and I didn't think that I would like it, but I've come to really enjoy that depiction, partly because I actually adorn my altars with pine cones, and I just have a small affinity with pine cones, and I never really noticed it until I started working with this deck. So I thought that was really cool. The deck size itself, the card size, is 2 by 3 inches, so it's a smaller deck, making it very, very easy to shuffle. And the card stock is phenomenal, guys. It is phenomenal. And when all the cards stack together and the deck is complete, it is about that thick. It's so, so thick because the card stock is incredible quality. And I want to give a big shout out to all these self-published decks and all these artists, I should say, that are going for that high quality cardstock, because it does make a difference to tarot readers and tarot enthusiasts. And I don't know about you guys, but I've actually worn through some tarot decks because of the flimsy nature of the cards. So I appreciate it wholly and solely when that artist goes that next step and gives me a really good quality product, because that's part of the charm and the appeal. The imagery might be great, but the cardstock is really, really flimsy, and that kind of breaks my heart. So I really appreciate the high quality of this deck. Like, I can't say any more about it. It's amazing. Now, this is not a borderless deck. I'm a little bit sad about that, but the border that is included in this deck it's not fancy. It is just, and I'll show you with this initial. See the black border? It's just void. It's vacant. and it doesn't detract from the eye. There's nothing busy going on the outside. For those of you who don't like borders, take for instance the borders in the Sacred Circle Tarot or the Druidcraft Tarot. They're really prominent borders, and I don't mind them sometimes, but you know, I would prefer a card without a border, and I don't find that the border around this actually detracts or interrupts my focus in any way, shape or form, so I don't mind it in this instance. And I think you have to assess the border, non-border aspect from deck to deck, because sometimes the artist does it well, sometimes it's too gaudy, you know, and it's a very subjective, it's very personal to the reader itself. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a sip of my chai because I have given up coffee because I get anxiety when I drink coffee. And so it's a big deal because I'm Brazilian. I'm famed for my coffee love and just my general drinking of it. But that is lovely. And so I'm enjoying that. All right, so what more? Okay, so the Bonefire Tarot. The moment that I hear Bonefire, I always think of Beltane. And when I meditate with this deck, I think of Beltane. I think of the Beltane fires and the burying of the bones and the fires over the bones. And it's just such a pagan feel to it. And I can almost see people just in the evening around fires and bones and dancing and being very primal and very open and very nature oriented and in celebration. And so this deck has a really great feel, a really great pagan feel for me, whether or not the artist intended on it being that way. So I just think that's phenomenal that, you know, it carries with it that energy. And I'd be curious to see, you know, what you guys think of it if you do own it and if you think that it carries that same sort of energy. Now, the style of art included in this deck is vintage tattoo art. Now, initially, I thought that that was grotesque, and that was part of the reason why I didn't actually buy it immediately. But the more I look at it, the quirkier I find it. And I'm really into tarot decks that give me a different view, like it just gives me a different experience. And this is definitely one that does give me a different experience. It's very quirky. It is, it's vibrant. It is just, yeah, it's got a sultry feel to it, but it's very vibrant, and I just love it. Very feisty sort of deck. So I'm going to show you the packaging, which is one of my favorite aspects. So the packaging is a hand-stitched velvet bag. It's a little velvet envelope bag, and there is a bit of hemp cord or Hessian ribbon that wraps around, and it ties up into a little bow like this, and there is a little wooden bonefire motif just there. But this is such a nice touch, like that hand-stitched. I'll show you what it looks like. It is so great, and it, you know, it rolls up nicely and really does protect the cards. The cards are really sturdy, like I said before, but they just, yeah, it's just such a lovely touch. And it does come with a little white book, but this is so quirky and different. This little white book is raggedy, delightfully raggedy. It is, if you go for precision and you like things to be symmetrical, then you're not going to like this because it's everywhere. This is, the artist actually hand wrote this book out. It's not typed, it's handwritten. That's the front of the book. And it is 48 pages. So it's 48 pages worth of little white book. Artist's handwriting in it. It's fantastic. Like, honestly, she has just, you know, dot point keywords, all that you sort of need. Where credit's due, Bonafide Tarot, bit about that. A person, I'll read you the front bit. A person in possession of one tarot deck must be in want of more tarot decks. And if I currently have your attention, then you must have this one. I agree. She did have my attention. Oh, it's such a great little touch here. Honestly, it's beautifully done and very. See if I can get this. I'll show you what I mean about it not being asymmetrical. There's the front of it there. See what I mean? Yeah, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. So that is a little white book. That's the bag. And I'm going to show you some of the cards that, yeah, that I like. I'll start with some of the cards that I like, some of the cards that I don't like, and not the ones that I find funny, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to start off with the Ace of Cups, which is very, very colourful, and I think carries with it that sort of Abrahamic teaching of the cup runneth over, and it's really present in this. The cup certainly does runneth over. It has a joy and a happiness to it. Very vibrant. Justice, who is dazzling in her casino dress and her sequined casino dress, and she's holding what appears to be a fleur-de-lis, and her set of scales that are very blingy set of scales. This is the Fool. I always like the Fool. In every card, I think it brings with it a new understanding of what the Fool is. And this one is, this entire deck is obviously a Rider-Waite-Smith inspired deck. And the Rider-Waite-Smith Fool imagery is actually embedded into this card as well. There's the little dog, she's got the red jester boots, she's got the little sack over her shoulder, the little staff, etc., etc., and so on. So it's still very traditional Rider-Waite-Smith there. The Five of Swords. The artist has gone, you know, above and beyond to really include the full spectrum of human emotion in this deck. Like, she does it so well. Just the expressions, and this is a guy who's just punched another guy in the face, and there's a girl in the background standing there, and there's that sense of rivalry of fighting, you know, for the one you love, and so much more, just struggle and strife. And the fives are always such hard cards, such, you know, struggling cards. Excuse me. We have Death, depicted as a skeleton. The bonfire motif is there, as is a chakra symbol, the red root chakra symbol, and the crow and the white rose, and yeah, there's a lot going on in this card, in this depiction of death, but I really like it. I will say though, the depiction of death as used in Ian Daniels' Tarot of the Vampires is probably my favourite image of death thus far, but we'll see. The King of Coins, I found this to be a very jolly one, mainly because he reminds me of Santa Claus. He's all plump there on his throne, surrounded by his, you know, opulence and his material possessions, and he looks very kingly there and very chubby in the cheeks and very happy, and, you know, holding his scepter, holding on to all of his bling, and very comfortable on his throne of possessions there. The next is the Four of Cups, which may seem like a very plain card to you, but I really like how the artist has actually used the vines around the card in the shape of a love heart. And we know that cup symbolizes emotion and so on and so forth. And so that brings that extra feel to it here. Not that it really needed it, but it does. It brings that extra feel, that, you know, that unrequited love, or that on board with love style, you know, feeling. But the thing that I love the most about it, it's not that border, the love heart border. It's in the background there is a tree, and there are hollowed out parts of the tree where there are cups in those hollowed out parts of the tree, and that really talks about that hollow nature, that trying to fill the void, that, you know, just there is that's such a feeling, there's such a symbolism with the hollows of that tree for me, and my eye always goes into that direction. So yeah, I really like that. Judgment is a fantastic card. Now look very closely at it. There are like embedded sort of tattoos that look like ghostly presences in the back, and that really yeah, and it speaks of ghosts of the past and facing past issues and unresolved issues perhaps, and, you know, it speaks of those issues that have been unresolved bubbling up to the surface, and really having to face those and face those fears, and yeah, and just be held accountable. So I'll show it to you again. The time there, the clock there is ticking time, and time has come, and oh, it's just great, it's fantastic. Seven of Coins, I really like that, the fruitful nature of it, the reflection, the pause, the achievement, the long road ahead, it's all in there, and she holds her baby, and it's a very nurturing, a very determined card. the Seven of Cups. It's very imaginative, so I get imagination from this depiction of the Seven of Cups, and I get a busy mind and many opportunities, and definitely, you know, definitely that busyness and that water-like imaginative quality that is, you know, so water for me. The Three of Swords. It is an iconic card, the Three of Swords. I really like this depiction of it. I like the eyes in the background. I like the plump heart. I like the heart sailing on a boat in the water, and it's just, yeah, there is nothing particularly amazing about it, but I really like that symbolism for the three. The Five of Cups, which is personally my hangover card. Just saying. And this woman looks like she's hungover, that she's shamed, that she regrets the night that she had beforehand. Again, look at how the artist captured that emotion in this woman's face. It's amazing. And the, you know, the multiple cups of wine in the distance that she's sort of walked away from. She's left herself a trail of booze and she regrets it. The Eight of Coins talks about the artist and that dedication. Well, not the artist per se, but the dedication that one has towards their work. And I think the use of the artist in this case is actually really clever, because artists, from my understanding and just from knowing a few of them, they can be incredibly single-minded. When they're inspired, it's like they're possessed, and the only thing that they can or want to do is this one piece of art, is to finish this piece of art, you know, whatever that piece of art might be. And so this card really talks about dedication to the cause, dedication to your work, and work ethic, and etc., and creation, and, you know, reaping the rewards too, because you do get to see the finished product. The Page of Coins. Now, I love the lemons that she's squeezing. For me, the pages have such a young energy. Now, whether you look at the court cards as people or as energies or as, you know, lessons learned or influences, it doesn't really matter. I just think that, you know, being the page being so young, and they're there squeezing these lemons, and that makes me think of, you know, entrepreneurial children with their little lemon stands and lemonade stands and trying to get themselves a bit of cash. So that really, like, that makes me think of that. And I think that's really fitting for that young feeling of the Page of Coins, or the Page of Pentacles. Just working for what they want, and having the work ethic to actually work for what they want. Having the drive, I should say, not so much the work ethic, but the drive to work towards something, and not just sit there and expect it to happen. They're very hands-on. I find the pages of Pentacles are very hands-on, and like to actively participate and get right in there and learn, and are practical about it, and understand the practical approach to work. And yeah, so I really like the page there. The next is the Hermit. He's holding his little lantern, but the Hermit in this card is actually depicted with his eyes closed, and it's like he just doesn't want to see. He's holding the lantern out the front there, but he doesn't want to see. He's having his hermit moment, and I really, really like that. There is the all-seeing eye in the bottom, down there, and there is a little owl in the top, which is, oh, wrong side, right there. Little owl, and the bonfire motif is in here as well. And the last of the cards that I really enjoy is the Devil. It's a really kind of creepy card. And it speaks about being chained to your addiction, reckless abandonment, succumbing to your wilds. I mean, there's more, obviously there's more interpretations to the Devil card. And of course, each artist and each type of art and each deck will help you bring about different angles of interpretation for each card, and that's why I own so many tarot decks personally for myself. Now, the cards, I actually show you the Knights, because I found the Knights to be really elemental, like they were really elementally influenced, and I had a particular chuckle when I looked at the Knight of Coins, so I'll leave him to last. So the Knight of Wands is this one here. So all of the Knights are depicted with horses in them. And the elemental presence in each of the cards is really quite strong. And so there, like I said, the pine cones were the feature and with a symbolism for wands in this particular deck. flaming pine cones, and there they are, the flaming pine cones. So we have the wands well in his element, the swords, the Knight of Swords, and there's that wind and rush and fluid motion of the air around them, and it's all there depicted in there. And he's on a horse as well. Excuse me. The Knight of Cups, and it's a very languid, foggy, dreamy kind of card. And the horse is still present in there, so that she's managed to embed all of that elemental presence in there. But the Knight of Coins is my absolute favorite, because although he is depicted on a horse, if you look down the bottom, just there's a little tortoise. And I like this, and I actually laughed when I saw this card, because the knights for me are movers and manifestors, and they move a little bit faster than say the pages and the queens and the kings. And you know, they've got that action, that ability for action, and to really react and create. And I really like that. But the fact that this knight is on a horse and there's the tortoise or the turtle there, it just brings it down a little bit. Like, it brings it down to that earthly realm where the element of earth itself is quite slow and it prods along, and the element of water can be really dreamy. And you know, if you're enthusiastic and you're swept up in emotion, you can get caught up in that haze, that dream. The Knight of Swords can get caught up in a tornado of mind matters, and the Knight of Wands can just get all burnt up in that fiery passion and just really like engulf themselves. And so I really liked the elemental presence of these cards. And I giggled when I saw the tortoise, because even in witchcraft, when you're looking at elemental magic, you know, there is a school of thought out there that says that by doing earth spells manifest themselves in months, sometimes years, whereas fire is spontaneous. Sword or air is a day, and cups is like weeks or months, and coins is like months and years. So they're said to be a bit slower. So I don't know, I giggled when I saw that. And partially I'm an air element, so I'm a Taurus, and I appreciate that, because I know how slow that I like to work. And it's not slow because I lack enthusiasm. It's slow because I like to think about things, and I'm very meticulous in how I approach my tasks. So I can appreciate that. And I giggled when I saw it. Might not be for everyone, but it definitely had me going there for a little bit. It's a little tarot humour. Now, cards that I didn't like. Now, it's not that I didn't like these cards because I didn't feel that they conveyed the message. Let me be clear about that, because there is not a card in this deck I feel that doesn't convey the message. It's just that some of the images I appreciate more than others. And so these are the ones that I didn't like. The Nine of Wands. It's all there. Like, it will, you know, the imagery does speak volumes, but I don't love it. I don't love it. And I don't dislike it, but I just don't love it. The Empress. This baby in a little womb, umbilical cord still linked, and the Empress there. Not loving that one. 10 of Coins. The castle and blossoming in the background. See what I mean? All the symbolism is there, and you can read these cards, but just the imagery themselves aren't personally for me. 7 of Swords. Yeah. Doesn't have enough sneakiness, that one. The Emperor. The Emperor looks a little bit frail. He looks a little bit sad and maybe a little bit pathetic in this one, and I don't like that, because the way that I see the Emperor, or the energy of the Emperor, is to be, you know, very strong, very authoritarian. So that's the Emperor. The 7 of Wands. Not loving that. The Star card. Don't love the Star card. again, like I'm saying, the imagery is all there, and the Hierophant. If I was disappointed with any of the cards, it was probably the Empress. I love the Empress cards. I love the Lovers cards. I love the Chariot cards, and the Hierophant being my birth card. I thought this was too typical. This was too typical right away. I would have liked to have seen her go, beyond that traditional imagery for the Hierophant, like, the Mariel, she's suckling two babies at the same time, and that's her depiction of the Hierophant, and it's a powerful depiction of the Hierophant, and I would have liked. I'm not that I'm comparing this deck to the Mariel, because that's wrong. Two completely different styles, but I would have liked to see her just stretch out of that and into something a little bit more, I don't know, different. But the images are all still there, embedded, like heavily embedded with symbolism. It is just about as embedded with symbolism as the Illuminati Tarot, which I have here next to me. But yeah, and they are the cards that I didn't particularly love, but like, I still read beautifully with them, beautifully with them. The imagery is all there. It does evoke the same emotion. It's more that I don't find the images themselves pleasing on my eyes. And so I'll put these all together and I'll show you the thickness of the deck. Okay. So here it is. That is your tarot deck, and it looks like I said, it looks a little bit thicker. I'm not sure that it necessarily is. I've got the chrysalis here next to me. Let's have a look at the chrysalis in comparison. Yeah, so it's slightly smaller. If I was to put them side by side, it's easier to see if they're flat down. I don't know, that's a quirky observation, I suppose, and not that important to mention, but yeah, I have heard people say that this is a very thick type of deck, and I think it just comes down to that amazing card stock quality. So don't make me rant about that anymore, because I will. Now, as you know, I like to assign herbs, incenses, and crystals with my decks, and this one here, I was meditating with it at first, and it said, I want me a piece of blue tiger's eye, to which I was like, well, fuck, I don't have blue tiger's eye. I have an abundance of brown tiger's eye, or golden tiger eye, however you like to pronounce it. And so I thought, well, next time I'm in town, I'll just have a look around. So I went down to my local supermarket and I thought, I'll just have a quick look in here. And lo and behold, blue tiger's eye. I went, I'd like to have a look at those pieces. And she's like, we don't have blue tiger's eye. I'm like, no, I'm looking at blue tiger's eye right now. She's like, oh yeah, they came in this morning. I'm like, synchronicity. How about that? And this is the piece of blue tiger's eye that I acquired. And it's semi-polished. So, and very rough, but it's got such a great sheen to it. It's great, and it works beautifully with the bone fire. They love each other. They like to work with each other. And I find that the incense that I like to use is patchouli based. I love patchouli with a nice resin compound in it, like say copal or frankincense, myrrh, benzoin. I like dark copal, patchouli and dark copal together, and a little pinch of dragon's blood, because I just think dragon's blood really does bring a certain amount of magic into the room. So yeah, patchouli is definitely a herb that I find resonates really well with this. And if I had to describe this tarot as a person, I would have to say that they are this, like, I don't know, this quirky redhead with an asymmetrical haircut, funky glasses, and a half sleeve of a tattoo, very intellectually oriented as well. So just a killer like vibe that it has, and I really like it, and it comes with my highest recommendation. Honestly, the quality of this deck is phenomenal. This artist did a fantastic job on it. It is one of my favorites. It is so unique. It is so different. I never thought that I would go for artwork like this, and yeah, and I'm so pleased that I actually did. I'm so pleased that it haunted me, and I'm so pleased that I got it. And I can't say anything. I can't fault this deck. I just can't. It is, you know, it's cherished now. It is cherished. And so if you're interested, head on over to the artist's website. And like I said, it's self-published. You can buy it directly from her. Yeah, it's a fantastic, fantastic deck, guys. And it has a great energy, a great feel. You won't be disappointed. Anyways, that's it. It's been very long. Much love. Many blessings.